When I think about the future, I don't see it as something distant. The future is happening right now, in this very moment. I still remember when we started Alibaba, just 18 people in a small apartment with no money, no technology, and no connections. But what we did have was a vision of what the future could be. I kept telling my team, if not now, when? If not us, who? That question drove us forward. We couldn't afford to wait. The world was changing, and we had to be a part of it. Today, young people have an even bigger advantage. You have tools at your fingertips that my generation couldn't even dream of. You have the internet, smartphones, access to knowledge and resources. But the real question is, how are you going to use these tools? The future isn't going to wait for you to be ready. It's already happening. You can't sit around waiting for the perfect time. The best time to act is now. I believe that education and technology are the two most powerful forces for creating the future. When combined, they unlock limitless potential. The future is about learning new skills, being adaptable, and most importantly, taking action. You can't wait for the future to come to you. You have to go out and create it. I always say, the future belongs to those who can see opportunities and seize them before anyone else. Looking back, I realized that the key to building Alibaba was not just about having a vision, but about taking action in the present. We didn't wait for perfect conditions because they never exist. The moment you have an idea, a dream, or a vision, that's the moment to start working toward it. The tools and technology are there. Are you ready to use them? So ask yourself, what are you doing right now to shape your future? Don't wait for tomorrow. The future begins today. And speaking of shaping the future, entrepreneurship is a key part of that journey. But here's something most people don't realize. Entrepreneurship isn't just about intelligence or emotional strength. It's about something even deeper. I call it LQ, the love quotient. When I started Alibaba, many people thought I was crazy. We had no money, no real internet in China, and no investors. But I believed in one thing. If we put our hearts into what we did, we would succeed. I always told my team, customers first, employees second, and shareholders third. Why did I say this? Because I believe businesses are built on people, not numbers. When you lead with love, love for your customers, love for your employees, and love for your mission, you build something much stronger than profits. That's how we built Alibaba. We didn't just focus on making money, we focused on making an impact. And when you do that, success follows naturally. Entrepreneurship is not a game of IQ or even EQ, it's a game of LQ. How much love you put into what you do. Love your team, love your customers, and love the work you are doing. When you do this, you create an environment where people feel valued, and that's where real innovation happens. Our success at Alibaba came not just from our technology, but from the people who believed in our mission because they felt we cared. Many entrepreneurs think success is about strategy and execution. And yes, those things matter. But in my experience, the businesses that last are the ones that are built on love and trust. Love is what keeps people together during tough times. It's what inspires loyalty from your customers and dedication from your team. Without love, your business is just numbers on a spreadsheet. So the question is, how much love are you putting into your work? If you're only focused on profits, you might miss out on the true rewards of entrepreneurship. Build with love, and you'll build something that lasts. Just as love can be a powerful force in business, so can technology. I've always seen the internet as the great equalizer. When I started Alibaba, China didn't really have internet infrastructure. I remember downloading a single image took hours. Many people said, "Jack, this will never work." But I saw the future. I knew that the internet could change everything, and it has. The internet doesn't care about your background, your resources, or your connections. It gives everyone a chance to succeed. The beauty of the internet is that it levels the playing field. It allows small businesses to compete with giants. I founded Alibaba to help small companies sell to the world because I believe that technology should empower the many, not just the few. Today, thanks to the internet, any entrepreneur can reach customers across the globe, whether they are in a big city or a small rural village. For me, the internet represents freedom. It gives people opportunities that were once impossible. When I look at developing countries, I see so much potential. The internet has the power to transform lives, especially in places where resources are limited. A farmer in a remote part of China can now sell his products to someone halfway across the world because of the internet. That's what I mean when I say the internet is the great equalizer. So, how are you using the internet? Are you taking advantage of the opportunities it offers, or are you waiting for someone else to lead the way? The internet is here, and it's a tool that can open doors for anyone, but you have to be the one to walk through them. Just like the internet gives everyone a chance, there's one more thing that makes all the difference: perseverance. I wasn't the smartest student, and I failed many times. I was rejected from more than 30 jobs, including KFC. But those rejections didn't stop me. Instead, they made me more determined. That's the thing about perseverance. It's not about how smart you are or how lucky you get. It's about how much you are willing to keep going when things don't go your way. When we started Alibaba, it wasn't an instant success. It took years of hard work, mistakes, and failures to get to where we are today. We were rejected by investors, misunderstood by the market, and faced constant setbacks. But we kept moving forward. I always say, success is a marathon, not a sprint. The people who succeed are not necessarily the ones who avoid failure. They are the ones who keep going after they fail. The truth is, every successful entrepreneur has faced failure. What separates them from everyone else is that they didn't give up. They saw failure as a lesson, not as the end of the road. That's why I believe so strongly in perseverance. You don't need to be the smartest or the most talented person in the room, but you do need to be the one who refuses to give up. At Alibaba, perseverance was our greatest asset. We were determined to keep going, even when things looked impossible. Every challenge we faced made us stronger. Every failure taught us something new. That's the mindset you need if you want to succeed in business. The willingness to push through when others would quit. So, the question is, how much are you willing to persevere? Are you ready to keep moving forward even when the odds are against you? Because that's what will ultimately determine your success. Perseverance is critical, but so is the right kind of education. I used to be a teacher before I became an entrepreneur, and I still believe that education is the foundation of any society. But here's the problem. The education system today is not preparing young people for the future. It's preparing them for a world that no longer exists. When I was starting Alibaba, I quickly realized that what I learned in school didn't equip me to handle the challenges of the digital age. We need to rethink how we educate the next generation. The jobs of tomorrow will require creativity, emotional intelligence, and problem solving, skills that machines can't replace. I always say, teach young people how to be innovative, how to lead, and how to think critically. Those are the skills that will matter in the future, not just memorizing facts or following instructions. We need to teach them how to adapt, because the world is changing faster than ever before. As technology advances, automation will replace many jobs, but that doesn't mean there won't be opportunities. The key is to focus on the things that machines can't do. Creativity, empathy, leadership, these are the qualities that will set you apart in the future. That's why education needs to evolve. It's not just about learning information anymore. It's about learning how to learn, how to think, and how to adapt to a rapidly changing world. When I travel around the world, I always encourage young people to learn the skills that will help them create their own opportunities. Don't just learn to get a job, learn to make a difference. The future belongs to those who are willing to innovate and think outside the box. So, how are you preparing yourself for the future? Are you learning the skills that will keep you relevant, or are you stuck in the old ways of thinking? Education is the key to unlocking the future, but it's up to you to take control of your own learning. Speaking of education, there's one lesson that no school can teach: the value of challenges. Throughout my life, the hardest times have been the ones that shaped me the most. When we started Alibaba, everything was a challenge. We had no money, no resources, and no one believed in us. But those challenges taught me resilience. They taught me how to keep moving forward when everything seemed impossible. Challenges are what build character. They force you to dig deep, to find strength you didn't know you had. I've always believed that adversity is the best teacher. It's easy to succeed when everything is going well, but real growth happens when you're facing obstacles. Every challenge I've faced, from being rejected for jobs to struggling to find investors for Alibaba, has made me stronger. I like to think of challenges as tests. They test your patience, your persistence, and your ability to adapt. But the greatest lesson they teach is this: challenges are not there to stop you, they are there to help you grow. I always say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. You can't always control the obstacles you face, but you can control how you respond to them. In business and in life, challenges are inevitable. But instead of running from them, you have to face them head on. Because every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. It's a chance to learn, to grow, and to become better. And the more challenges you face, the stronger you become. So, how are you facing your challenges? Are you letting them hold you back, or are you using them to push yourself forward? Remember, challenges don't define you. They reveal who you really are. Speaking of challenges, there's another critical lesson I've learned throughout my journey. Failure is an essential part of the process. You see, challenges test your resilience, but failure teaches you humility and growth. When I started Alibaba, failure was constant. We were rejected by investors, misunderstood by the market, and faced countless setbacks. But I never saw failure as something to fear. In fact, failure is like a teacher. Each time it knocks you down, it gives you a new lesson to learn. It's only when we embrace failure that we truly start to grow. I remember when I was rejected from KFC. Out of 24 applicants, I was the only one who didn't get the job. Harvard rejected me 10 times, and I faced rejection after rejection when seeking funding for Alibaba. But those failures never stopped me. They shaped me. Every time I failed, I used it as fuel to push forward. I've always believed that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. You can't succeed without failing along the way. The key is to learn from it and keep going. One of the biggest misconceptions about entrepreneurship is that it's a straight path to success. In reality, the road is filled with failure. But here's the secret. Failure is where you find your greatest opportunities. If you're afraid of making mistakes, you'll never take risks. And if you don't take risks, you'll never innovate. I always tell young entrepreneurs, the earlier you fail, the better, because it teaches you resilience, adaptability, and the courage to keep trying. Every time I failed, I realized something important. It's not the failure itself that defines you, but how you respond to it. When I look back at the journey of building Alibaba, it wasn't the successes that shaped us the most. It was the times when things went wrong. We learned how to pivot, how to adapt, and how to find new solutions. If you're afraid of failure, you'll never discover your true potential. So don't be afraid to fail. Embrace it as part of your journey. The question is, how are you handling your failures? Are you letting them hold you back, or are you using them as stepping stones to your next achievement? Remember, failure isn't the end of the road. It's just a curve along the path to success. Speaking of finding success in the face of failure, I see immense opportunities where others might only see challenges, especially in developing countries. Many people look at countries with limited infrastructure, high poverty rates, and unstable economies and think there's no hope. But I've always believed the opposite. Where there are difficulties, there are also the greatest opportunities for innovation. In fact, when we started Alibaba, China was not a land of opportunity by many people's standards. We had poor internet, no solid payment systems, and limited logistics. But that's exactly why we succeeded. We built solutions for the problems others ignored. I remember my first visit to Africa. The energy, the potential, and the passion I saw there were incredible. Many people focus on the obstacles, the lack of resources, the infrastructure gaps. But I saw something else. I saw entrepreneurs ready to tackle these problems and create something new. The opportunities in developing countries are vast because they are filled with untapped potential. It's in places like these where the next big innovations will happen. When I talk to young entrepreneurs from developing countries, I always say, don't let your environment limit your dreams. The beauty of entrepreneurship is that it thrives in adversity. When we started Alibaba, we didn't have the resources that companies like Amazon or eBay had in the US. But that didn't stop us. We created what we needed. We built our own payment systems, our own logistics networks, and our own platforms to support small businesses. Developing countries are full of these same opportunities. The entrepreneurs who can solve problems in these environments will not only transform their own countries, but also have an impact on the global market. If you can innovate in a place where resources are scarce, you can succeed anywhere. So, my advice is simple. Look for opportunities where others only see difficulties, and you'll find yourself building something truly transformative. So, where do you see opportunity? Are you focusing on the obstacles or on the potential to solve problems? In every challenge, there's a chance to innovate and change lives. You just have to be willing to see it. And speaking of transforming lives, one of the most powerful ways to create change in today's world is through digital inclusion. The internet is the greatest equalizer of our time. But the truth is, not everyone has access to it. Without digital inclusion, we're leaving millions of people behind in the race for success. That's why I've always believed that governments, businesses, and entrepreneurs need to work together to ensure that everyone has access to the tools and resources the digital age offers. I've seen firsthand how access to the internet can change lives. When we started Alibaba, our mission was to make it possible for small businesses to compete globally. The internet allowed them to reach customers they never would have been able to find otherwise. This is the true power of digital inclusion. It opens doors for people who otherwise would have no chance. But it goes beyond just providing access. We need to ensure that people have the skills to use these tools effectively. In many parts of the world, especially in developing countries, millions of people still don't have access to basic digital infrastructure. If we don't address this, we risk creating a world where the gap between the rich and poor only grows wider. That's why I always emphasize the importance of investing in digital infrastructure and education. It's not just about technology, It's about giving people the chance to participate in the global economy. Digital inclusion isn't just a moral responsibility, it's also an economic opportunity. When we include everyone, we unlock new markets, new talent, and new innovations. Just think about what could happen if every young person in the world had access to the same digital tools that entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley have. The world would be a very different place. That's the future we should be working toward. So the question is, what are you doing to ensure that you and those around you are part of the digital future? The tools are out there, but it's up to us to make sure everyone can use them. This brings me to one of the most personal lessons I've learned: how to handle rejection. Throughout my life, I've been rejected more times than I can count. When I applied for jobs, when I tried to get into universities, when I sought funding for Alibaba, rejection was a constant companion. But rejection isn't something to fear, it's something to learn from. In fact, every rejection I faced helped shape the success that eventually came. I'll never forget the time when I was the only one out of 24 applicants rejected by KFC, or the 10 rejection letters I received from Harvard. Each of these rejections could have been a reason to give up, but instead, I chose to view them as opportunities to learn and improve. Rejection taught me to be resilient, to keep pushing forward even when things didn't go my way. I learned that just because someone says no doesn't mean you can't still achieve your dreams. For many entrepreneurs, rejection is part of the journey. When I was trying to get Alibaba off the ground, we were rejected by every major investor we approached. But we didn't let that stop us. Instead of focusing on the doors that were closed, we looked for new ways to make our vision a reality. Sometimes, rejection forces you to be more creative, to think outside the box, and to find solutions you wouldn't have considered otherwise. The key to dealing with rejection is not to take it personally. Rejection doesn't define your worth or your potential. It's just a part of the process. If anything, it makes the journey more interesting, because every rejection brings you one step closer to finding the right opportunity. So if you're facing rejection, don't see it as a failure. See it as a chance to learn, grow, and come back stronger. The question is, how are you handling rejection? Are you letting it stop you, or are you using it as motivation to keep going? Remember, rejection is not the end. It's just a redirection towards something better. Rejection often forces you to think differently, and that's where innovation comes in. At Alibaba, one of the secrets to our success has been our culture of innovation. From the beginning, I encouraged my team to think big, take risks, and not be afraid to fail. Innovation doesn't happen in a straight line. It's messy, it involves trial and error, and sometimes it means failing before you succeed. But the key is to create an environment where people feel free to experiment and try new things. I always told my team, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. This means that if something isn't working, you have to adapt and innovate. At Alibaba, we've built a culture where failure is not punished, but seen as a stepping stone to success. The best ideas often come from trying things that seem impossible or thinking in ways that others haven't considered. For example, when we created Singles Day in China, people thought we were crazy. Why would we create a shopping event for single people? But we took the risk, and today, Singles Day is the largest shopping event in the world. It's this kind of out-of-the-box thinking that drives innovation and keeps a company ahead of the competition. And it all starts with creating a culture that encourages people to take risks. Innovation is not just about technology. It's about mindset. It's about being open to new ideas and not being afraid to challenge the status quo. If you want to succeed in today's world, you have to foster a culture where people feel empowered to innovate. The companies that will thrive in the future are the ones that encourage their teams to think creatively and take bold steps toward new possibilities. So how are you fostering innovation in your own life or business? Are you creating an environment where people feel free to experiment and take risks, or are you playing it safe? Innovation is the key to staying relevant in a rapidly changing world. Speaking of innovation, there's no greater tool for empowerment today than technology. When I founded Alibaba, I didn't just want to build a business. I wanted to empower people. Technology, especially the internet, is the most powerful tool we have to level the playing field. It allows small businesses to compete with big corporations. It gives individuals access to knowledge and markets they never had before. And it opens up opportunities for those who are willing to embrace it. I've seen firsthand how technology can transform lives. In rural parts of China, farmers who once had no way to sell their products beyond their villages are now selling to customers all over the world, thanks to platforms like Alibaba. This is the power of technology. It breaks down barriers and connects people to opportunities they never thought possible. And this is why I believe so strongly in the role of technology in empowering individuals and communities. But technology is only as powerful as the people who use it. That's why I always say, if you don't use technology to empower people, you're missing the point. At Alibaba, we've always focused on using technology not just for efficiency, but for empowerment. We built our platform to help small businesses succeed because we knew that if they thrived, so would we. Empowerment through technology is a win-win for everyone involved. The future belongs to those who embrace technology and use it to create positive change. Whether it's through e-commerce, artificial intelligence, or new digital tools, technology is the key to unlocking the potential in all of us. But remember, it's not enough to just have access to technology. You have to use it with purpose. The entrepreneurs who succeed in the future will be the ones who use technology to empower others, not just themselves. So how are you using technology in your life or business? Are you using it to empower yourself and those around you? Technology is a powerful tool, but it's up to you to decide how you'll use it. And that brings me to my final point. Working with purpose. Throughout my career, I've always believed that money should not be the ultimate goal. Yes, building a successful business is important, but if you're only working for profit, you'll never find true fulfillment. The real joy of entrepreneurship comes from working with a purpose, from knowing that what you're doing is making a positive impact on the world. At Alibaba, we always focused on a higher mission, to make it easy to do business anywhere. This mission wasn't just about building a successful company. It was about helping small businesses, empowering individuals, and improving lives. When you work with purpose, the rewards go far beyond money. You build something that lasts, something that makes a difference in the lives of others. And that's where true success lies. I've always believed that if you want to lead, you have to have a vision that's bigger than yourself. You have to ask yourself, what legacy do I want to leave behind? It's not enough to just build a business or make money. You have to have a purpose that drives you forward every day. When you work with purpose, you inspire others to do the same. Your employees, your customers, and your community all feel the impact of your mission. Purpose gives meaning to your work. It keeps you going when things get tough. And it reminds you why you started in the first place. At the end of the day, it's not about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in the world. That's the kind of success that truly matters. So I'll leave you with this question. What's your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? And how are you using your work to make a positive impact? When you find your purpose, everything else will fall into place.
In one of his most powerful and revealing speeches, Jack Ma captivated the audience with his bold insights into why fear of the future is a waste of time. He didn't hold back when challenging the common mindset that so many people have, waiting for the perfect moment to act. The future is now, Jack Ma warned, emphasizing that those who are waiting will be left behind. Jack Ma reminded everyone that it's not technology, talent, or luck that will define success in the future. It's the courage to embrace change and the perseverance to keep going, even in the face of failure. Throughout his speech, Jack Ma highlighted several key points: the immense potential of young people, the importance of digital inclusion, and how failure is not something to be feared, but a necessary step towards success. He shared personal stories of rejection and failure, illustrating how these setbacks shaped his character and turned Alibaba into the global powerhouse it is today. His message was clear. You don't have to wait for tomorrow to change your life. Everything you need is already in front of you, here and now. Reflect on your own journeys and ask yourself how you can take immediate action to shape your future. Jack Ma warns us to stop worrying about the unknown and start building the future with the tools and opportunities we already have today. The future won't wait for you, so what are you waiting for? For Jack Ma, fear of the future is one of the biggest barriers to success. He believes that people often fail to explore opportunities because they are trapped in a paralyzing fear of what might go wrong. However, he reminds us that real growth comes from the ability to embrace uncertainty and venture into the unknown. The future, although uncertain, offers unique chances for those who have the courage to take a risk. By facing uncertainty, we also become more resilient and adaptable. Jack Ma has always argued that failure and success are opposite sides of the same coin, and only those who are willing to make mistakes are able to innovate and transform their reality. This mentality is what allows entrepreneurs to create something new and break with expectations. Ma also suggests that when we accept uncertainty, we put ourselves in a position of constant learning. He often says that every day brings new challenges, and it is in this unpredictable scenario that the greatest innovations and personal discoveries arise. Accepting what we can't predict paves the way for creativity and progress. Jack Ma stands as a living testament that perseverance is not just a strategy, it is the foundation of true greatness. His journey was filled with rejection and failure, yet he never wavered in his vision. Ma teaches us that it's not the brightest minds or the most talented individuals who succeed, but those who refuse to give up when the path becomes difficult. Perseverance is the bridge between dreams and reality, and it's built on the grit to keep moving forward, even when progress seems invisible. In Ma's view, setbacks are not roadblocks, but stepping stones. Every failure is a lesson waiting to be learned, a chance to refine your strategy and strengthen your resolve. He reminds us that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's an integral part of the journey. When you embrace this mindset, you begin to see obstacles not as barriers, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. Perseverance, in this sense, is not just the ability to keep going, but the willingness to evolve as you move forward. Moreover, perseverance cultivates resilience, the quiet strength that comes from facing adversity and rising each time you fall. Jack Ma endured hardships that would have broken the spirit of many, but it was through these challenges that he honed his character and sharpened his vision. Success is rarely a sprint. It's a marathon of small steps, missteps, and corrections along the way. In the end, it is those who persevere, those who remain steadfast in their pursuit of something greater, who reach the extraordinary. Are you ready to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead feels long and uncertain? Jack Ma believes that failure is not just an event, but a pivotal moment that shapes who we become. He teaches that embracing failure is a crucial part of any journey towards success. When we fail, we are faced with a choice. We can either be consumed by the fear of our mistakes, or we can rise, learning from every setback. For Ma, failure is not an end, but rather the beginning of a new chapter, filled with insights that propel us forward. Each time we fall, we gain a deeper understanding of our strengths and weaknesses. It's through these moments of failure that we build the courage to face even greater challenges. Jack Ma encourages us to reframe how we perceive failure, not as something to avoid, but as an experience that shapes us into more resilient, wiser individuals. After all, true growth does not come from success alone, but from the lessons learned along the way. In the grand scheme of life, every failure can become a stepping stone if we choose to see it that way. It's the mindset of continuously learning, no matter how hard the fall, that separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. In this light, failure is no longer something to fear. It becomes a guide, leading us toward new possibilities and unexpected successes. Are you willing to embrace your failures and use them as the foundation for your future triumphs? In a world driven by rapid technological advancement, Jack Ma emphasizes that the future belongs to those who are willing to adapt and learn continuously. However, his vision of education is not limited to traditional methods. He believes that the key to thriving in the future lies in developing skills that machines cannot replicate: creativity, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Education should focus on cultivating the human spirit, preparing individuals to navigate the complex and unpredictable challenges of tomorrow. Ma advocates for a shift in the way we think about learning. It's not just about memorizing facts or mastering technical skills. It's about nurturing the qualities that make us uniquely human. As automation and artificial intelligence become more prevalent, the ability to think critically, solve problems creatively, and connect with others on a deep emotional level will be what sets us apart. For Jack Ma, education is about preparing individuals to become the leaders of a new era where these human qualities are in the highest demand. The future will not be shaped by those who are the most technically proficient, but by those who can adapt, innovate, and inspire others. By fostering creativity and emotional intelligence, we are not only equipping ourselves to survive in a rapidly changing world, but also to thrive. Are you investing in the skills that will matter most in the future? Jack Ma firmly believes that the digital revolution is one of the greatest equalizers of our time. The infrastructure that powers the internet has the potential to uplift entire communities, providing access to knowledge, resources, and opportunities previously unimaginable. For Ma, access to the internet is not just about convenience, it's about empowerment. When people are connected, they can break free from geographical and social limitations, opening doors to education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Digital infrastructure creates a new kind of freedom where information flows freely and the barriers to entry in industries are lowered. Jack Ma has often spoken about the transformative power of the internet in leveling the playing field, giving even the smallest businesses a chance to compete globally. It's through this connection to the digital world that individuals and communities can rise above limitations and tap into global markets, expanding their horizons in ways that were once unimaginable. In this digital age, access to the internet is a lifeline, a tool that can change the course of a person's life. The ability to connect, to share ideas, and to collaborate with others across the world is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Are you ready to harness the power of the digital revolution to elevate your life and your community? Go what? Rejection is often viewed as a roadblock, but for Jack Ma, it is one of life's greatest teachers. Recalling his own journey, being rejected from countless job opportunities, including a position at KFC, and being turned down by Harvard multiple times, Ma learned that rejection is not personal. Instead, it is part of the process that strengthens resolve and sharpens one's vision. Each rejection he faced built the resilience that would later fuel his success. Jack Ma teaches that rejection should not be feared, but embraced. It is in moments of rejection that we are given the opportunity to reflect, improve, and come back stronger. Every no he received became a stepping stone to a greater yes. The key is not to take rejection as a sign of failure, but as a challenge to persist, to keep pushing forward until the right opportunity presents itself. Rejection, in this sense, becomes a refining process, one that prepares us for the challenges ahead. To grow in life, we must be willing to face rejection and see it as part of our journey. It's through rejection that we build resilience, that inner strength that propels us forward, even when the odds seem against us. Are you prepared to embrace rejection and let it forge you into someone unstoppable? Jack Ma's philosophy is simple yet profound. Work should never just be about making money. For him, true fulfillment comes from working with purpose, contributing to something larger than oneself. He believes that when you work with purpose, you create impact. It is this impact, rather than profit, that brings lasting satisfaction and leaves a meaningful legacy. Purpose-driven work fosters passion, creativity, and innovation. Jack Ma has often said that it was never just about building a company. It was about empowering others and making a difference in the world. He believes that profit is a byproduct of purpose. When you are aligned with a higher mission, the motivation to keep going, even through the hardest times, is unwavering. Purpose fuels perseverance, and perseverance leads to success. Working with purpose means connecting your work to something greater than yourself. It's about leaving a positive mark on the world, whether through innovation, service, or helping others realize their potential. When you work with purpose, you transform not only your own life, but the lives of everyone you touch. Are you working to make an impact that will echo long after you're gone? Now that you've heard Jack Ma's wisdom, the real question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you ready to stop letting fear of the future hold you back? Every piece of advice shared today is only as powerful as the action you take next. How will you start using the tools you have right now to shape your own future? Remember, it's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity, it's about creating it. What part of the speech impacted you the most? Was it the lesson about embracing failure? Or maybe it was the reminder that perseverance is the key to long-term success? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Rewatch this video whenever you need a boost of motivation, and let Jack Ma's words remind you to keep pushing forward. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss out on future videos that will keep inspiring your journey. And if you're ready for more, check out our next video, 10 Powerful Messages from Jack Ma for Entrepreneurs. For even more strategies on personal growth and success, your future is now, so let's make it count.